Welcome to Empowered by AI, the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to harness AI to take their businesses to the next level. I'm your host, Michelle Muncy-Silva, founder of Innovative AI Studios. You may have left corporate life to start this entrepreneurial journey, but you don't have to go it alone. Here, you'll find a supportive community of like-minded women and an invaluable thought partner each week, as my guests and I share actionable insights you can use right away. So let's dive in together.
You're my official first ever.
I am the official first podcast for Rachel Zipsie.
Yeah, I don't.
What?
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I feel like we should have champagne.
We probably should.
I feel like we should.
So, yeah. So since I've been doing my own thing, it's never come up. So here we are.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I think you've done a really good segue here. So for Rachel, for our friends that are new to your work, can you give us a quick overview of who you are and what you do?
Certainly. My name is Rachel Zipsie, and I am a small business owner, entrepreneur, coach. I think that I do a lot of different things, but currently I run Advanced Performance Solutions, which is what I created when I left my corporate role almost 3 years ago. Inside of that, we have Canine Sports Co. and Pawdesk, which is a software platform for canine enthusiasts and the facilities who run the events. And then Odin's Heart Foundation is an organization that I founded with a group of friends on behalf of caregivers of rare genetic disease, as it's really close to my heart. My family was impacted by a rare disease, my grandson. And I noticed how the impact with the disease and of the caregivers and how these illnesses really take a whole community of helpers, and they become so attached, they need services as well. So that's what I've been spending my time on for the last 3 years. And during that time, I started working with AI with my clients. I started building software with various consultants, and started learning how to use AI tools much more efficiently from the original version of ChatGPT to now using Manus and learning automation tools. Last night, learning how to do avatars. So I use those tools in my businesses and with the customers that I consult with to help them grow their business, to think creatively. And up until recently, I was primarily using them as more internal tools, but I'm starting to use them with my clients, and now we're starting to get them used to using these tools as well independently. And I think that's been a real help and game changer for my clients, is now they know the speed of their creativity can happen faster, and they don't worry about those things running their business that keep them up at night, where these tools can take some of those ideas that they've been thinking about and are not sure of, put them into Manus, put them into ChatGPT or other tools, and get really creative and focus on strategy. And that's where I spend most of my time, is listening to strategy and then using all these great tools that are right here in front of us to piece together opportunities. And it's been incredible last couple of years in AI. But now with these tools, I'm seeing real impact and jobs being found, partnerships working together, new products being launched. And that's been within the beginning of Manus, which is only in 30 days. It's incredible.
It's incredible. And I know that is the really sweet spot where I want to talk to you today, because
Sure.
I blame you personally for my Manus obsession. It started with you.
Fabulous.
It started with you. And Manus is the tool that keeps coming up. It keeps coming up in our conversations. It keeps coming up. I'm seeing it in community conversations as well. How would you describe Manus, and how are you using it in your business?
At first, I didn't know how to describe Manus, and I didn't know what it was. So I do in typical, what I call Rachel fashion, is I just started doing as many things as I could to see where I could fail. And it didn't fail the questions I was asking. In fact, it was asking me provocative questions, which promoted me to want to use it more. And when I say wanted to use it more, was I wanted to learn how to think more strategically so that when I was interacting with this tool, I would be able to get more out of it. So then I started looking at how does this work? So Manus is a general AI agent that was actually it was built from a company in China. And I've actually created a number of different use cases that we've used it on. And I have 8 different examples just on my website alone that you can try and use Manus for, from publishing a book, understanding the steps to do that, to putting together really deep, thoughtful progress. Let's do project management, strategic leadership, AI consulting. There's just an enormous amount of variety of what you can do. And it's really comes down to where, and I spend my time is which one of my clients, where are we, and how can we use this tool in our strategic goals that we have for the. And if someone's a startup, that's even a little bit more fun because you really are in this creative space of setting down a foundation, really picking your spots of where you have resources, where you have time, understanding the trade-off when you're a solopreneur is if I'm going to do this project, I'm most likely going to be the person implementing all those tools. And how can I do that effectively, quickly, in a kind of a crawl, walk, run scenario for myself so I don't get overwhelmed? Where these tools now can help us break down those steps and educate us or find others who are doing similar work and we can collaborate much more efficiently together.
And that's one of the things that has blown me away, the detail with which it gives you a plan, advice for best next steps, the
Yeah.
research that it brings to the table. Has there been like a particular element of Manus right now that just absolutely wows you?
Yeah. The biggest wow was what we were planning on doing with one of our software products for our canine sports product. And we have a roadmap that we have carefully thought out. We're working with a number of people outside of our organization to do that. And simply by taking the thought process of, let me tell it about my business and let me tell it my current strategy and what are ways that we could find value to keep our customer base growing while we implement these new tools. What we ended up doing was fast tracking an entire year of development by using all the research that we would have had to do for our rules and the requirements. And now our developers are talking about how could we get this into our program faster. That thought process wouldn't have probably even occurred to us had it not been just trying this general agent tool that could help you with data analysis, can help you with understanding financial, where you could upload your Excel documents and make visual graphs for you. I don't make graphs very well. So being able to do that just saves so much time and it helped us bring business forward. And that is something that when I look at the immediate value of AI tools, I'm only looking at tools now that I can get immediate value in my business because I have a thriving business that I'm trying to now add more value to my clients. And then eventually this will go into their organization where they can grow and add. And in some areas, they will adapt and they will spend less time in planning because the tool will do it for them, but they'll spend more time in creativity. And for my client base, that's where that is their sweet spot. They're creative artists. And so letting them create and letting the tool plan really makes a lot of sense for us.
That is fantastic. And I know you recently used Manus to map out a strategy for your own book. I think you called it
Yes.
Moments of Grace. Can you
Yes.
walk us through what you prompted to get it? What was that process like for you?
And it was a pretty interesting process to begin with because it was a 2-year process up until the point of using Manus to do some research for me. And I was currently consulting for a personalization and laser writing organization. And I knew we could make hearts and I knew we could make this gift for caregivers, but I wanted to add something truly special. So I wrote my different feelings about the caregiver story in my family, different ideas, things that I do. I talked about recovery. I talked about a little bit about addiction. We talked to caregivers and the need to really take care of themselves. Moments of Grace became part of this caregiver gift set. It never dawned on me to publish this book individually. It was always just part of this gift for the foundation and what we use. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who says, "Can I get just the book?" And I'm like, "Let me just email you a copy." And they're like, "You've got to sell this. People want to read this." And I was like, okay. I've always wanted to be an author. I'd always wanted to do those things. I was able to write okay, but editing, grammar, and doing things that would hold me back was I was afraid to do those things. I was afraid to put that out into the public. And I started seeing that there's a lot of people out there putting pieces together and in small communities and giving pieces of themselves to help grow their community through PDFs and ebooks and things like that. So it's just a natural fit inside of the gift box. So I use Manus in this situation to say, thank you. I use Manus to help me think about where could I market the book? If I'm going to take the time to do it, where could I market the book? And then can the proceeds for the book go back into Odin's Heart Foundation, which was the purpose originally. And that it's what I did is I walked through creating a Substack and promoting my writing on Substack about all the variety of different topics. Some of those might be AI, some of those might be business, it might be my personal journey. It's a very wide variety of information. And it's only about a week today old, because it's only been in 30 days since we've actually started this little project. So I went from having a concept to a project to production to launch. And now we have a printed book with a strategy that I simply put in. And I would like to start a Substack so I can promote my book, Moments of Grace. And I just iterated with the tool. That was all I put in. It asked me the questions. And so I got very specific in this case because I know I want to stay on Substack. I know I want to keep it authentic in my writing. And I wanted it to be a place where it was from the ground up, because I wanted to see how I could get all the AI tools to work to promote it, and then also turn it into being able to help the other programs that we had. So I've started it. I've got the pages set up. It provided me a checklist. I asked it, could you please put this checklist on a website? I have the website. It's available on my website for people to check out, because I'm not doing that exact project, but the level of detail that it gave me was enough to make me believe I could take the manual steps to do it. I now had a list in front of me. I have an opportunity to share, which was requested of me. So I get to go do what I love to do and use the technology to create something I wouldn't have known how to do. And you could say the same thing for, I want to start a channel about educating in AI. And you could do the same thing like what Sabrina Romanoff has done. You could do those things. And if you don't know how to do those things, plan it. And if you don't know how to plan, that's what go find somebody, find a buddy, find a consultant, go to an organization like She Leads AI or any of the other organizations that are out there and collaborate, because this community, that the community use of the tools and helping each other is adding value very quickly. The world is open. There's so many opportunities. If you have an idea for a book, if you have an idea and you want to do some teaching or consulting, or if you really just want to go on vacation and plan your trip. I'm planning a trip. I have to go to Utah. For me to travel to Utah, and that's a lot of things to put together. I'll use Manus to do my trip. It's incredible the things that you can do.
And you even helped someone land a job using this tool. What was the strategy that you built for them, and how did Manus end up supporting you in doing that?
That was one of those just connection moments that happened. And I do a 30-minute clarity sessions. You have an idea, you want to talk, come talk to me. And this person reached out to me and who was a peer of mine at one of my places that I used to work. And we have known each other for almost 25 years. And they'd recently lost their job, and they had an interview and wanted to know if I had any information about the company. Well, we talked, and I said, wait a minute, let's wait a minute, tell me what else you're doing. How else are you looking for work? What else are you trying to do? Are you prepared for this interview? She's, I don't know. I don't do role playing. I've been on all these interviews. So I said, let's try this new tool in it. And so we put her resume, we put the job, and we cut and pasted that out of LinkedIn. We cut and paste her LinkedIn profile. And we said, we asked, and the prompt was very simple. I'm interviewing at this place of business. Here is my resume. Please research the company. Tell me about their organizational structure and other people I may know who work at the company. Tell me how many times the job has been posted in the last 12 months. Is there a similar job postings at the company? And prepare me to interview at every level of the company, starting at HR through other different leadership. And it produced a 25-page document that we threw into a PDF, and she took it and had someone at home help her do role playing based on the script that the tool produced for. And it was relatively accurate. I went and did some fact checking on it, and it was accurate, and some of the mutual context was accurate. The job posting, it gave a great history. But what I found so amazing was the role playing of the different and the variants of questions and the different ways to ask the questions the same way. So it really gave the responses from point of views of different leadership, because I had asked for from the entry level human resource interview up to a VP level developer to talk to you. And it really, it varied in the responses. So the nice thing about prompting, I think, in Manus, and it is just to get started, is just download what you want it to make. So if I wanted to make an app to find me dock diving facilities in the United States, I would ask it, how would you recommend we build this together, and put your vision in? And the questions that it brings up will help you get clarity and will help you get started in doing it. But you cannot expect perfection. It's not perfect. The data, sometimes you have to check your computations. But I can't say that in my career, that isn't any different than having to check my own work and checking my computations and doing those things as well. And what I find is it becomes a great focal point for the conversations with clients, because now you've got something that is the research, you've got links you can look on together, it's interactive. They can choose to look at it at 9 o'clock at night when they are doing this type of work and research it on their own. And it makes their decision making so much faster, which sometimes analysis paralysis happens when I get lost into Chat GPT. Whereas this summarized it and put it into a format where I could be curious enough to dig deeper, to check the resources and validate accuracy, but also high enough in the overview to be able to have strategic conversations at any level in the organization from these documents. That's pretty hard to do.
But I love that you just brought that up, because I do think of Chat GPT sometimes as the rabbit hole, right? You go down and it doesn't seem to end, right?
No.
Does it? There's always another direction you can go, or another task. It can ask you, do you want me to do this?
Yes.
Manus, it almost feels a partner in project, right? It's okay. You're going to do X, Y, Z because I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to get this product from you. It feels a little bit more like it gives you something solid, like a next step. Has that, to me, I've used it to shape monetization plans that I wanted to put into action.
Sure.
That was how I felt when I walked away with it. It's like I printed out, because I still want paper in my hands. I'm old school.
Yeah. No, I
So
understand that.
I printed it out and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I am now responsible for X, Y, Z. Manus is waiting for me. It's waiting for me.
Waiting for your response. And some of the iteration, interesting that you brought that up. When you're iterating, it will get 2 or 3 levels. In the first iteration, it comes back with about 8 questions for you every time. But some of those questions are so thoughtful that I have to open a second task, or I change my first request and go smaller so that I really grasp what those pieces that I'm not thinking about and that I really have tried to avoid in my project plan because they aren't the things I'd like to do. So that's little accountability that it does. It promotes that creativity with a curious, when you approach it with being curious, oh, it makes me sometimes go down into the rabbit hole as well. And that's always a good note is if I'm not getting the results I'm looking for, I stop very quickly and reset because that's usually that I have not framed up in those first two prompting questions enough to get me at least 60% there. So I've learned that over time and testing so many tools that it's just going to be a little bit longer until the tool's going to be ready to do that. Fighting it or going deeper somewhere down a rabbit hole isn't serving my best time spent anymore because there's so many other opportunities of things that add value quicker. But it's hard to remember when you're in it and you're getting creative and suddenly you've thought of 3 new businesses off of your one idea.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Now, can you talk a little bit about what it did for you specifically? I know about your marketing dashboard idea.
Oh, sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that is so amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up just so I can talk about it a little bit easier. Do you want me to share a screen or how would you like to
Yeah,
do it?
sure. Let's do it.
Let's see. We have lots of things. So I'll start with the moments of grace. And this again was about not quite 30 days ago. So this is not the active plan, but this is the plan that we started with. I want to show you the output before I show you how it worked. And the nice thing about Manus is you can watch it work. And it helps me when I watch it work to understand, first of all, how difficult it would be to do this by myself. And it also makes me think about areas I might not have considered. And I really enjoy that about the tool. Plus, you can watch it back. So you can save it, watch it back, and iterate on your own of what you're learning. So it almost is like an education in a box for me, as well as a tool that's doing these general steps. But this it brought through different phases, which is setup, creation, the branding, the content, initial promoting. And I can go through if I wanted to, I could track these things, right? Do all the steps. And then once you do all your setup, all those things that really do take a lot of time, then it starts working on how do you want to take care of your content. It gives recommendations on how to set up your schedule, the science behind the different things it gives me ideas, right? Which I pretty much have a lot of I write my own content through my Substack. I don't use this for content writing because it's a very personal kind of journey. That being said, there's a lot of topics that you could pull together resources and tools if people needed them. So we've looked at things like caregiver checklists for traveling. We've looked at things like ebooks and things like that could, when someone goes on vacation, which is what my daughter does, she's a travel agent and helps with handicap accessible travel, to have different guides and things that she could offer to her clients just to make their trip a little bit more easier and the checklist of things to remember. And these tools could help us get there to write those things out faster and organize it better. The phase and growth. So after you've gotten into it, talks about acceleration, talks about how to do newsletter exchanges. I never even considered a newsletter exchange. I don't know how those things work. And I'm sure if I dug into other different tools, I could go I could search this on YouTube. I could search this in Substack. I could search other communities, or I could have it pulled together for me and then go out and be very strategic with the time and the action that I have. And that's what this really allows me to do.
Mhm.
The interesting thing, where's Manus at? Where is it? There he is. There we go. So pay no attention to the left is just some of those things. I've deleted a lot.
You've just done one or two things there.
I've just been a little busy. I really take these, I'm talking snippets of my ideas and walk away. And I don't think about them again until I'm ready to put it in my day. So that's another trick of the don't falling into the rabbit hole is if I have an idea and I'm going to type that note somewhere, if I can make it just clear and have enough clarity to it, I could give it to Manus and tell it what I want done with it, and then come back to it when it does fit into my schedule, when I can give it the focus that I want. And that has been very helpful with keeping
So
me up.
you've turned Manus into a productive notepad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is like Post-it notes that I leave around my computer, don't forget about, and
Yes.
they collect dust on my computer because they're not actionable
Yeah,
2 weeks later because I've forgotten the nuance that was in my mind.
exactly. And that's what was happening to me. I would do something in chat and it would give me just enough to go, okay, yep, I'll iterate with this later. And it would save it. And I would even, sometimes I would go and set up a reminder. I would try to schedule it into my work stream. But with this, it's here on the left-hand side of my screen. And I'm in the tool on most of the time over being in ChatGPT now, because I'm using it for real-time creation. And when that creativity is happening, if I'm doing something for client A and it might impact client B, I want to start that up because every Wednesday when I meet with my client B, now we have something to talk about that was part of my project plan for them. And it just really has streamlined my thought process, has given me more time to do creative things, which I enjoy.
Do you have a particular prompting process? Because I found when I first started this, I was asking ChatGPT to generate a Manus prompt for me. Like it was something special that was beyond what I had learned to do with chat. So do you have something that's like a format that you use, or are you just much more informal and it teases out from you what it needs?
It teases out from me what it needs. I am very informal and I joke that I don't spell very well. I don't use punctuation and or typing scary. And I don't really change a lot unless I really truly can't understand what I'm asking for. And I like that because it's a creative partner for me. Now, if I know that I want to take what I did for the creating the Substack and doing that type of marketing and that type of thought process, and I wanted to say go and do it for an email campaign, then I wanted to develop a 12-month email campaign about caregivers and how to help caregivers. I would simply just take what I did there, ask it to provide a prompt back to me of give me a general prompt of what we use to create this. And then I would edit just that little bit. And I've done that a couple times and it's worked fairly well. But I really do like the question and answer and the thought provoking questions I get by being vague because I don't know what I don't know. I've never been a developer. I've always been with computers since I was in junior high with the Commodore 64 and the Apple IIes. And I would program and try to be a programmer, but I couldn't do it. My brain and the way that I would understand it, I would quickly get frustrated and I would forget information. And this is actually the opposite experience in that I've taken the way that my brain works and I've just figured out how to leverage the tool that's in front of me to get the most out of it and to help what my audience is or who I'm trying to help in that situation. And it really has changed the way that I approach problems. I don't just assume that there's not an answer that isn't going to cost a lot of money, take a long time, find a lot of resources. I start trying to understand each piece of it and then match those pieces up to new ways of doing business, new ways of collaborating, new ways of using technology to get the same result.
Okay. All right. So as we're looking at this, what advice would you give someone who has a business up and running and wants to use AI to grow? Is this hands down the tool?
I would say start with the Chat GPT and understand and get to know Chat GPT before jumping into Manus and also just practice a little bit. I would go directly to Manus the next day. And I would say that is I don't have a problem and I don't have a problem showing my clients who they don't use technology. My clients and clients that are out in the field training dogs and messaging me from iPhones. And so within those scenarios, and unless they need to, they're not going to try the technology. But the second I get an opportunity to get them to try the technology, I let them try something in ChatGPT. And if it's working and it's something that they find value in, going to Manus quickly and teaching how to use Manus and having those collaborative conversations absolutely would do. I would absolutely do that. But I would also use this time when you're learning it, check yourselves on both of them. So if you're using Manus and using ChatGPT together, validate. Look at the data and validate that it's giving you the information you want, that the information is accurate, I did that at the very beginning because I thought this can't be accurate. And while there were some mistakes and I expected mistakes, there were far less mistakes than in one platform wasn't either. I mean, it's always a little bit the same. Like it wasn't any worse. So I quickly learned that do it, just jump in and start doing it. And then follow creators and get involved in network in education. That would be the very third thing is learn from so many people are so willing to give their time. And if it's not something you want to do yourself, but could add value, like you see that we could implement a different type of website, be more cost effective. It could use AI and be updated by anybody in your company. If that's something that has value to you, but you don't want to do that legwork, that's what you hire consultants for. Because the ROI now from that stack or that type of scenario into using, especially for small businesses that don't do a lot of transactional website work, there's so many other alternative ways than through even Shopify, Wix, or some of the other platforms out there that take them a little bit longer to learn. If they don't have a lot of traffic and they need a website right away and they don't want to use AI, you can use AI tools to make those products for them. And over time, somebody in their organization will have those skills to be able to do it. And I just think that it's all scenario based. It's truly understanding your needs and what you're trying to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. And you've used AI to help you write, to help you launch, to help you grow. What is next for you?
Mm-hmm. I am really going to be focused on my writing. I am going to continue to give away classes, and anything that I learn, I'd like to give it away and do things that benefit Odin's Heart Foundation. So I anticipate to do a few more classes. I've got 2 classes coming up, which are going to be doing your avatars and putting together some automation using Blotato, make.com, and HeyGen and some other tools. And that's a community group effort of let's hold each other accountable and learn together. So I go out and I learn it first, and then I share it back into these groups so that other people have an opportunity to learn. And I'm going to continue doing that through the month of June. And then our season for Odin's Heart gets very busy with our doc and everything that goes with that. So I am going to continue to coach and continue to learn tools and continue to offer classes and see what comes next and continue to offer my clients the same services. So
You are so generous with your time and with your experience. You are bringing so much to the table. Where can people find you and follow your work?
I appreciate that. Thank you. I was really inspired through the education I was able to get online through doing this AI work, learning how to use AI. And I really enjoy the personal connections we make by learning how to do it. So I am always available at pausecommitrise.com. You can book a one-on-one sessions with me there, or you can book a clarity call where we get to know each other and see if perhaps it's a good fit to start working together. And I work with individuals and small businesses alike, C-suite to I lost my job and I don't know where to start. I have experience in a lot of those different areas. And it's really about helping people transform their goals. And as those opportunities come, I hope to continue to be able to educate and spend my time writing and spend some time with my grandchildren and travel a little bit. I hope.
I love it. I love it. Now, do you want to connect people to your Substack as well?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I am at pausecommitrise.com. Thank you so much. That's where I'd like to be everyone going. But yes, pausecommitrise.com, Pathways and Possibilities is my articles that I write.
Rachel, thank you so much for your generosity, for your knowledge, I am a Manus geek because of you.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today. I love what you're doing. There's so many brilliant leaders in this space. And I really just appreciate your time and appreciate the opportunity to talk about the fun creations that we're making.
Thank you for tuning in to Empowered by AI. If today's episode sparked ideas, don't wait. Follow the link in the show notes to visit innovativeaistudio.com and download your free resource created to help you put today's insights into practice. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with more tips, tools, and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay empowered and keep innovating.